Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's doubleheader between the Westside Woolly Mammoths and the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. My name is Rich Borland, and in just a moment, my broadcasting partner for today's action, Drew Kell, will join me. As we head into today's contest, the visiting Mammoths are coming off of a victory last night against the Unicorns. We saw a strong start from Josh Mason, who pitched well through 5.2 innings. It wasn't anything spectacular, but he got the job done, and that's really all that matters. He allowed 2 runs on 6 hits while throwing 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. Jalen Lawson had a good night at the plate where he walked twice, but also had the hit of the game with a 3-run shot that put a statement on the ballgame. Will Marshall pitched well in relief for the Corns as he went 4 innings while giving up just 1 hit and 1 walk. The story of the night, though, was from the first play of the game. The Westside Woolly Mammoth center fielder Drew Kitson stole the show when he robbed Unicorn outfielder Spencer Ibarra of a home run. It was so special that it made it onto ESPN SportsCenter's top 10 plays as the number 5 play of the night. And just to look back on how awesome that was, we're going to play the audio from that spectacular catch made by the Mammoth starting center fielder.
Ball out there to center field. Drew Kitson at the track, at the wall, and he makes the catch. He did. Are you kidding me? What a way to start this ball game. Drew Kitson lays that ball down perfectly, jumps up and robs Spencer Ibarra of a home run. Oh my goodness, that's the first time I have seen this in person. Drew Kitson just put himself on SportsCenter. Rich, we say that every game, but tonight I actually believe it. Most time all year, no doubt about it.
So what a call last night. What a catch. Had my partner Luke Hammett on the call with me, and it ended up going on to SportsCenter with that spectacular catch made by Drew Kitson, the starting center fielder. He'll be back in action in that 2-hole for the Westside Woolly Mammoths here today. And let's look on to this action as we have a similar story. The Unicorns last night started Tyler Schwanz instead of the projected starter, Jesse Stinnett, who couldn't start because of a back issue. And then for the Beavers today, we were originally told that Cameron McKenzie was going to start Game 1, but instead he'll get the nod for Game 2. Our matchup in the first contest will feature Travis McQueen out of Moseley, Virginia, and Brandon Mattern of Akron, Ohio. McQueen is in his 2nd year with the Westside Woolly Mammoths, and in 2017, Travis appeared in 18 games and had a 2-3 record. Through 56 2/3 innings, he allowed 16 walks but recorded 42 strikeouts under his belt while maintaining a 3.81 ERA. So far this season, McQueen has made just 1 start. He went 4 1/3 inning and gave up 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. His opponent on the mound will be Mr. Brandon Mattern, who was making his first start of his professional career. He's been mainly a bullpen arm for Chris Newell in 2017, and he appeared in 8 games while tossing 9.1 innings. In his time last year, he managed a 2-1 record with a save under his belt. He allowed 5 walks and 7 strikeouts. We'll get a little bit more into this pitching matchup when we return. Here's our national anthem. So there is our nation's anthem. Once again, Rich Borland and Drew Kell along here with you on the broadcast. We got Westside Woolly Mammoths and Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers ready to play at least 14 innings here today on this Sunday matinee contest. We got Memorial Day tomorrow, and we will have a game. And let's get a little bit more into this pitching matchup as Brandon Mattern steps up onto the bump. I was talking a little bit about him before we got to the national anthem. But once again, for Chris Newell and the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers in 2017, Mattern appeared in 8 games while tossing 9.1 innings. In his time last season, he managed a 2-1 record with 1 save under his belt. He allowed 5 walks to 7 strikeouts. And then to this season, things haven't been really good for Mr. Mattern. He's made 3 relief appearances, and in those 3 innings, he's allowed 8 earned runs on 6 hits. He's thrown 5 walks and 2 Ks. Let's hear a little bit more about this pitching matchup between Travis McQueen and Brandon Mattern and Mr. Drew Kell.
Yeah, we're going to start off with McQueen. As you mentioned, he had a pretty big body of work, pitched 56 and 2/3 innings last year, and pretty good numbers this year in 1 appearance. Not what he hasn't pitched to his abilities that we know he can pitch to. But however, it's very early in the season, only 1 appearance. He features a fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup, and really likes that slider and changeup as his go-to pitches. And for Mattern, it's been a really tough start, to say the least. ERA 24, hasn't really found a rhythm, lost a lot of velocity on his fastball. He told me he's down to 84. He also heard 82, so anywhere in that range. But he's been at 90, so it's not like he has the capability of being up there. It's just we haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's because it's early in the season, but whatever it is, it needs to get fixed.
Yeah, whether it's a mental issue or if he's just lost some of that velocity, whether it's to maybe it's an injury, maybe the workout regimen hasn't been what it used to be. But real quick, we'll run through this lineup that'll face off against Brandon Mattern. The man stepping up to the plate right now, the left fielder, Tommy Fiesel. Batting behind him, the center fielder, the man who made SportsCenter's top 10 plays last night, number 19, Drew Kitson. Batting third, the first baseman, number 22, Brandon Cuddy. Batting fourth, the DH, Tyler Pagano. Fifth, the right fielder, Ethan Whisker. Sixth, the man who had the 3-run homer and was a big part of the Westside Woolly Mammoths victory, Jalen Lawson in the 6th hole. Jordan Thomas in the 7th spot. Jake Barbie will be behind the dish today for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. And we're getting right into the action. Here is Tommy Fiesel, who was actually 0 for 4 last night. He had 4 groundouts for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. And he's got his first hit today. It only took 1 pitch, so the Woolly Mammoths coming off the victory last night, right back on schedule with that leadoff single for Fiesel.
Yeah, Fiesel didn't waste any time. He got a fastball right down the middle, as we see a lot of times on the first pitch of ball games. And he just turned on it, hit a sharp ground ball right past the third baseman.
Yeah, Fiesel 2 of 17 coming into play today, so you like to see that out of the starting left fielder for the Mammoths. Meanwhile, Brandon Mattern trying to get something going on a positive note this season. Like we mentioned, the 3 innings, the 8 earned runs. Just not the way things have been wanting to go for the left-hander, Mr. Brandon Mattern, out of Akron, Ohio. This ball fouled off into the protective netting, but if you haven't seen it yet, should. Drew Kitson's robbing of a home run from the batter Spencer Ibarra last night against the Utica Unicorns, making it onto ESPN SportsCenter's top 10 plays. Woke up to some great news this morning from our vice president, Scott McDonald of marketing. It was all him. He's got a connection with ESPN, and he had gotten the clip delivered, and you know, it was quite the spectacular showing of athleticism from Mr. Drew Kitson.
Yeah, the play itself was awesome, but the exposure that it brought to the league was even greater.
And then meanwhile, taking second, thinking about third is Fiesel. There was neither Rob Poller or Skylar Mercado, the middle infielders, to go and cover that baseball bag over there at second base. Fiesel steals that one with ease.
Yeah, it almost looks like Mattern kind of forgot about the base runner, and I don't know if it was forgetfulness, but whatever it was, need to do a better job of holding runners on. And now there's a runner in scoring position, so it's been tough for Mattern going on the early going this season, and with a man in scoring position with no outs in the first, that makes it just all the more harder.
So Kitson with a good hitter's count. He's got an even better one here. He looks at ball number 3 in this at-bat. Kitson last night, we talked about the leather at the plate. He was 0 for 2, had a strikeout and 2 walks on the night. Did have a stolen base to his credit. But the Mammoths trying to win their second game in a row here. They sit at 2-2 on the season. The Beavers 3-3. This ball hit on a line out to center field. James Batley in center field initially wasn't sure where it was. He did not make a good jump on that baseball, and because of it, it goes over his head and into center field. Drew Kitson with an RBI double. what a day and night he's had.
Yeah, that was just a pitch that it looked like a fastball, or I couldn't tell if it was a fastball or changeup because the velocity isn't where he wants it to be. But whatever it was, it hung up right over the heart of the plate, and that's just something. If you're Mattern, you have to avoid throwing with. If you're going to throw that velocity, you have to hit your spots, and you can't miss right over the heart of the plate.
So 2 men up, 2 men on, 1 run scored already for the Mammoths, and Brandon Mattern's season hasn't been great, and it's continuing here this afternoon. The Mammoths, who had all 4 of their runs through the first 3 innings of play yesterday, looking like they're following right in the footsteps from last night. Kitson out there in scoring position now. Brandon Cuddy down in the count 0-1 against Mattern. Mattern the 0-1. Breaking ball misses low and inside. Last night, Cuddy 1 for 3 with a single, a walk, and a run scored. He came in to score on the 3-run homer from Jalen Lawson. But if you're Brandon Mattern here, you want to get a ground ball, possibly to the left side of the infield to force Kitson to stay at second. This ball, meanwhile, lofted out of play.
Yeah, Mattern needs to bear down and make pitches, hit his spots, because his velocity isn't there right now. And if you're not throwing 92 miles an hour, there has to be something else there. And right now he's missing his spots, which makes it hard to compete at this level.
You're absolutely right, Drew. No doubt about that. The count 1-2 on Cuddy, the man out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Breaking ball in the dirt. Looked like he went around, and home plate umpire Brian York says he in fact did. We might have a double play here. Over to first, over to third. Nice heads-up base running there from Kitson, and that drop third strike from Hunter Wood makes a difference as Kitson moves 90 feet closer to scoring.
Yeah, Kitson got a great break on that. As soon as the ball was thrown on the first base, Kitson was on his horse, and there was really no chance to get him at third.
So Cuddy is retired via the strikeout and then the putout. That gives way to Tyler Pagano, the designated hitter for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Pagano last night 1 for 3 with a single, but did strike out twice. He's got a good opportunity to pad onto this Westside lead if he can drive in Kitson, who just needs a base knock to score him. Pagano looks at a ball in the dirt, gets ahead of Mattern here early on.
Yeah, Pagano's first priority, try to get something to the right side of the infield or elevate something into the outfield, but get that runner in with 1 out.
Line drive out to left field could be a tough play, and it will be. A one-hopper out there to Daniel Oliveri in left field will be good enough for a base knock, and that'll bring in Drew Kitson. First 2 runners for the Mammoths come in to score in this one. Pagano doing his job as the DH to drive in runs. It's 2-0 Westside.
Yeah, Mattern just tried to float a curveball on the inner part of the plate, and Pagano just waited on it, and it wasn't in a spot that was tough to reach. It was right over the heart of the plate once again, and he ripped the single.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's okay to pitch to contact as long as guys aren't getting the good part of the bat on it. We saw it last night with the 4-inning effort in relief out of Will Marshall of the Utica Unicorns. He went 4 innings strong in that relief appearance, only gave up 1 hit and had 1 walk against him. And then sort of the same situation here, but Mattern, he's just leaving most of his pitches in really good spots for these hitters to make good contact on it. It's exactly what we've seen. Out of the first 4 batters, 3 of them with base knocks. Kitson with that RBI double that drove in Fiesel after he stole second base, and now Pagano standing there over on first with the RBI single that drove in Kitson. And then right on cue, Whisker continuing the damage here for the Woolly Mammoths. Rounding second, heading to third is Pagano. He's coming around to score. He will, in fact, get in standing up. No play at the plate. 4th hit of the inning for the Mammoths. Have them out in front 3-0. They are pouring it on here early against Mattern.
Yeah, Mattern, when he's throwing strikes, they're right over the heart of the plate. And when he's missing badly, bouncing it in a few times. And there, right was another example of it. He bounced one in earlier in the at-bat, and then later in the at-bat, he floats a changeup right over the heart of the plate. And that's meat at this level. When you're throwing 80 miles an hour and it's right over the heart of the plate, that's what you feast on at this level.
Whisker at second. Pagano had just came in to score, and sort of a position for Mattern where he struggled throughout this entire season so far in his 3 relief appearances. He gets the start today in game 1 as sort of maybe a last hope to try and continue pitching for the Beavers. We talked with the director of baseball operations, Mr. Justin Orenduff, before the game, and that was kind of the same story for Randy Wynn last season with the Beavers. But in his start, where he was in desperate need of putting up good numbers, he did, and he continued to be able to pitch throughout the rest of the season and actually had really good numbers throughout. Mattern, meanwhile, with a completely different story, here to lead this ball game off. And finally, out number 2 is recorded. Lawson pops one out to Batley in center field for out number 2, but not only has he given up the 4 hits here in this first inning, but like you mentioned, Drew, all of them really good contact, all of them pretty much line shots that Mattern has just served up on a platter to some of these guys, already through the 7th hitter in Jordan Thomas as he stands in from the right side.
Yeah, there's a difference between weak contact, like bloop singles, just infield singles, like cheap hits, and then what we're seeing today, we're seeing rockets hit to the outfielders.
There's a big cut there from Thomas. Swings and misses through the first offer he sees. Thomas last night had a tough outing. He's batting in the seventh spot where he was last night, but 3 strikeouts and a ground out to his credit. He was one of just 4 Mammoths to not record a base knock yesterday. It was him, David Kimbrough II, who will be coming up to the plate either later on in this inning or in the second. Meanwhile, fly ball hit out to left. Oliveri gets a beat on it, makes the run to the left, and comes up underneath it to make the catch for the 3rd and final out. But the Mammoths get 3 runs on those 4 hits. They lead it 3-0 as we head to the home half of the first. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to today's broadcast, USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland alongside Drew Kell on the broadcast with you. Got Luke Hammett up in the booth with us, running the scoreboard and keeping track of all of our statistical information. Luke on the call last night with me with that incredible top 10 play nominee catch from Drew Kitson, who's out there in center field. We'll see if we get anything else spectacular from him this afternoon. As first batter for the Beavers stands in now. That's Ryan Smith, the beer batter of the game. One of our many interactions that we try to put promotions with players here on the ball diamond. Fouls off the first pitch he sees against the starter, Mr. Travis McQueen. McQueen, the right-hander out of Radford University, making his second start of the 2018 season. Talked about his first start in the pregame show back on May the 17th as he throws in ball number 2 right there to Ryan Smith, brings the count to 2-1. But back on May the 17th against these same Beavers, McQueen went 4.1 innings, allowed 4 earned runs on 4 hits, threw 2 walks, had 5 strikeouts against the 19 batters that he had faced. And Ryan Smith with an opportunity here, but nothing with Ethan Whisker out there, or excuse me, Tommy Fiesel in left field, runs that one down, loses the sunglasses, but he finds the baseball, which is all that really matters, and Ryan Smith is retired for out number 1.
Yeah, how about this Mammoths outfield? And this is a leadoff hitter. Obviously, yesterday a little more exciting, but another solid play out there, this time the left fielder Whisker. So that's good to have. When you can cover ground in the outfield at all 3 positions, that makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, between Kitson, Fiesel, and Whisker manning the outfield for this Westside Mammoth team, I mean, they have really shown some incredible theatrics out there in the outfield grass so far this season. We're only 3 weekends in here at Jimmy John's Field. Gorgeous Memorial Day weekend. We've had perfect weather all weekend long. Hoping that continues through tomorrow's festivities as Thomas Rulis stands in here now, looks at a called strike, and then holds off on a breaking ball that evens the count up at 1-1.
And right now, if you're McQueen, your main job is eat up innings because it's a doubleheader, and although it's only 7 innings, if you're only going 3 innings in this game, it makes it a lot harder on your bullpen, and even going into next game, it affects the next game as well. So really, right now, it's about eating innings up.
Yeah, McQueen's going to have to do his best out here today as Rulis, who had most hits in the 2017 season out of anybody in this entire league, has continued his success here in 2018. It's another base knock for him. He's on with a 1-out single, reaches base safely, gives way to Rob Poller. But I want to go back to how McQueen's going to have a really nice outing this afternoon as he's facing off against Brandon Mattern, who has not played well throughout this season. So for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, you're going to want to take this 3-0 lead, run with it as long as you can, try and have McQueen go possibly 7 innings today if you can get that out of him, because you got to imagine in next game against these same Beavers, they have their ace, Cameron McKenzie, on the mound, and whoever's pitching for the Mammoths will let you know when we get to the second game, but that bullpen might have to come in handy pending the results of Game 2 with McKenzie on the mound for the Beavers. Meanwhile, Poller looks at strike 1 to begin his at-bat. Rulis over there at first base does have 1 stolen base to his credit this season. Staying put over there at the moment. Strike called at home plate. Poller quickly down in the count here, 0-2. Ron Norquist behind home plate, and Gary Wagenschutz over there at first base. He's technically in between first and second as we speak. Those were the umpires from last night's game, just in different positions for today's festivities for Game 1. I'm imagining they'll switch in between the games for the second contest of this doubleheader on this gorgeous Sunday here at Jimmy John's Field.
One thing I want to mention about the pitching matchup is so far both of these guys have given up very solid contact, and even on the out and even on this foul ball, we've seen good contact, and that's a bit of a red flag. If you want your guy to go deep into a game, so far through the first 3 batters, you've seen a hard line out, and then you've seen a solid base hit. So you want to keep that in mind if you're a Mammoths fan.
Yeah, it's very hot out today. The ball's going to travel well in this day game doubleheader between the Mammoths and the Beavers. Of course, both games will be just 7 innings. This ball hit high into that right center gap. Got Whisker and Kitson ranging underneath it. Center fielder will call off Whisker for out number 2. Kitson with his first recorded out here today. Nothing like yesterday's out, but he retires Rob Poller for out number 2, and now Jack Kranick stepping in, the designated hitter this afternoon. Kranick, when he's not DHing, plays over at first base, but he's pretty much been the DH throughout the entire season thus far in 2018. Hometown product out of Ortonville, Michigan. Line drive over the jumping shortstop, Jordan Thomas. Thought he was almost going to make a play on that one. Instead, the ball getting thrown right into second base. Nice job from Kitson in center field to throw that ball into the right bag. So that two-out single puts runners on the corners. Nice piece of hitting from Jack Kranick to keep the Beavers alive here in this home half of the first.
And McQueen just tried to sneak a fastball by Hranick, and he didn't miss it at all. It was a line drive that was nearly caught by Jordan Thomas. And then a second later, it's a step in front of the warning track. So that thing got out there in a hurry. And that was a good piece of hitting. Just ride with the pitch that he got. He didn't try to pull it. He took it to left, and that's a very good piece of hitting.
Ball in the dirt thrown by McQueen. Gets away from Jake Barbie, the catcher for the Westside Woolly Mammoths today. Feasel, Kitson, Whisker in the outfield left to right. Kimbrough, Thomas, Lawson, Cuddy, the infielders. Barbie behind the dish, McQueen on the mound. See Barbie relaying some signals out to his infielders. That's, of course, for the first and third play. If the runner at first, Hranick, tries to take second base. Not sure what the Mammoths will do, but I guarantee you they're going to be keeping an eye on Thomas Rulis over there at third base. Meanwhile, Skylar Mercado up to the plate. Looks at a couple of pitches, one for a ball, one for a strike to begin this plate appearance.
This is a big out for the Mammoths. Really would be a momentum stopper for the Beavers, because if you allow them to get 2 on the board, it almost feels like you got away with that inning unharmed, even though you did allow 3 runs. It almost gives you a second chance. But if you were McQueen and you get out of this inning, it almost defeats the Beavers. And kind of, you don't give up as a player, but it's in the back of your mind.
McQueen with the 2-1 offer. Fastball right down Broadway. Mercado just couldn't keep up with it. And the count evens at 2-2. Hranick over there at first base. Not a lot of speed. So you got to imagine he's going to be staying put until there's another ball thrown to Mercado.
I'd be watching out for that front door breaking ball.
There it is. This ball lofted down that right field line. If it stays fair, it's going to be trouble. But it'll end up going just foul into that corner near the 320 sign in that right field area. So Mercado staying alive, but just barely.
Yeah, Mercado just stuck his bat out, and it got pretty close to that 320 sign on right field. So the ball is flying out of the yard this afternoon.
Yeah, Mercado started his college career at Maine. He transferred to USC Aiken, a D2 school. This breaking ball, there's that backdoor slider thrown by McQueen this time. Misses the zone by just a little bit, but Mercado, a really unique story. His father was actually one of the first responders during 9/11. He actually gave the ultimate sacrifice. Mercado was only 6 years old when that had happened, so got to imagine that took a toll on him, but it definitely made him stronger. And what an at-bat right there from number 11, Mr. Mercado. He looks at another pitch right there to work the full count walk. That'll load the bases and bring up Hunter Wood, the catcher here for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers.
And if I'm Hunter Wood, I'm trying to jump on a first pitch fastball, because I think that this first pitch is probably going to be one of the best pitches he sees during the course of this at-bat.
Hunter Wood, not the everyday catcher this season. He had 23 games under his belt last season in 2017. He's been mixing time with Adam Gauthier.
It's good to have a platoon at the catching position, because having an everyday catcher can take a toll, no doubt about that. And just to have 2 competent catchers that can both go out behind the plate and call a good game, that's a pretty good tool to have.
0-1 pitch from McQueen. Fastball that tails away from him, nowhere near the strike zone. The count even at 1-1, but Hunter Wood so far this season, the man out of Mount Washington, Kentucky, is in his 5th appearance with the Beavers. He's just 1 of 10 coming into play today, so trying to get that average up. He looks at a changeup that is called the strike by the home plate umpire. Mr. Ron Norquist for strike number 2. So McQueen ahead in the count here now. Can really get out of this bases loaded jam. Tying run is Mercado at first base. And whatever happens on this pitch right here could transition into how this game ends up. Whatever happens with Hunter Wood in this plate appearance could definitely set the tone for the rest of not only the ball game here, but the rest of the day.
Yeah, and even on a bigger scale for Hunter Wood, who's batting 100 on the season, if he were to hit a gapper right here, that sets the tone for the next few weeks because that's a big confidence booster.
Yeah, Wood in desperate need of a hit. See if he can deliver. He won't. Breaking ball inside on the hands. Freezes Wood for the third and final out. Beavers leave them loaded in the home half of the first, and because of it, they remain trailing by that score of 3-0. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Drew Kell on the call here with you. We're through one inning of play. Brandon Mattern and Travis McQueen both with a little bit of trouble through the first frame. Mr. Mattern has faced off against 7 batters, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. And then for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, their pitcher Travis McQueen ran into a little bit of trouble, gave up 2 singles and a walk, had the bases loaded, but he gets out of it with the strikeout via the look that retires Hunter Wood. That brings us back to the Westside Woolly Mammoth lineup. Jake Barbie, the catcher, part-time outfielder, stands in for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. First pitch he sees, he looks at it for a ball, and then the second pitch he fouls off out of play. Count even at 1-1.
And that kind of has gone with the common theme we've seen. First pitch bounced in probably 3 feet in front of the plate. Second pitch right over the heart of the plate.
Yeah, really no in-between for Mr. Mattern. When the strikes are there, they're easy to hit, and when they're not there, they are, well, pretty easy to lay off. And you saw right there, nice contact from Jake Barbie, who's only got 4 at-bats so far in this 2018 season. Does have an RBI to his credit on a sacrifice flyout. Still looking for his first official hit, though, of the 2018 season. Not going to come on that pitch. Another breaking ball from Mattern, and just like you've been talking about, Drew, if it's a strike, it's over the plate, and that breaking ball was no different. Barbie just couldn't time it up right and Does stay alive in the count, though. It's still 1-2.
Yeah, Mattern missed a bit high with that last curveball, and you want to be careful of that because that's a recipe for disaster.
And the 1-2 pitch, low in the dirt. Nice job by Barbie to hold off on it. Barbie out of Statesville, North Carolina, trying to make his time worth here in this USPBL, taking advantage of every opportunity he possibly can. Hard ground ball, hit to the right side of the infield. Not an easy play for Rob Baller as he kind of fielded it right on that in-between hop, in between the infield grass, or infield dirt, excuse me, and outfield grass. But he ends up making the play to retire Barbie for the first out. 1 up, 1 down for the Mammoths. That'll bring up David Kimbrough the second.
Yeah, it was a nice play ranging to his left. And you said it's not an easy play. When you're on the move, and then he's able to gather himself and throw a strike on to first base. Good defense we've seen really all season, and we saw it again here.
So David Kimbrough the second, standing in 0 for 3 on the night last night. Flew out to center, flew out to right, grounded out to short. So a little bit of everything, just trying to put the ball where the players aren't now here with 1 out. He looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat against Mattern, but a lot better outing thus far in the second inning for Mattern through the first batter and a half. 0-1 pitch, missing just outside, but that fastball was fairly close to the zone, wasn't too far away.
Yeah, that's what you like to see, because that's a pitch that Kimbrough could have gone and fished for.
Right.
And it wasn't meat over the heart of the plate.
Right, Mattern ahead in the count, 0-1, brings something that was somewhat near the strike zone, and then we see another one right there, this time on the inside half, and back-to-back pitches, just barely missing those outer parts of the plate, but a really nice job at Kimbrough to lay off of those last two. We'll see if he is aggressive on the 2-1 count. Mattern, the pitch, fastball, this one not near the zone at all. So Kimbrough now way ahead in the count. It's 3-1.
The two pitches previous to this last one, those, although he didn't get the calls, those are the pitches that he needs to make, and I think he executed what he wanted to do. And I think we've seen a little bit of an improvement in this half inning.
And attesting to that, you know, if Mattern can get a 1-2-3 inning or maybe face only 4 batters here in this inning, that would be an improvement for sure. But he's got to try and keep his pitch count down. We talked about how McQueen's going to have a good outing, as McKenzie will be starting for the Beavers in Game 2, but Mattern is going to have the outing of his season as this ball is hit on a line out there to right field. Good contact from Kimbrough, but Ryan Smith out there in right field ranges it down for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down here for the Westside Woolly Mammoths in the top half of the second.
Yeah, really just good location on Mattern's part, and there wasn't a whole lot that Kimbrough could have done with that. He did give it a nice ride out to right field, but unfortunately it wasn't hit quite hard enough.
Beavers and Mammoths playing for the 3rd time this season. Birmingham Bloomfield 2-0 against these Mammoths. They won the first game 4-2, and then the second game by a score of 5-3. Westside Woolly Mammoths, though, playing well as of late. Trying to get their 3rd win of the season, give the Beavers their 4th loss of the year. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is game 1 of 2 here today, as both of these games will be 7-inning affairs. Thomas Fiesel looks at a couple breaking balls from Mattern, both of them for strikes. And a really nice job here from Mattern, a whole different side of him compared to the first inning.
Better location and a very nice bounce-back inning.
Just getting more comfortable out on that mound, and there's that 3rd breaking ball in a row, and almost fooled Fiesel there. He tried to chase after it, but he does his job and holds off on the pitch. Stay alive for at least one more.
Yeah, I would avoid throwing another breaking ball here, because if you go to the well one too many times.
Timing.
Yep.
And right on cue, there's another breaking ball. Fiesel makes contact with it this time, but what a nice rundown from Ryan Smith, catching that one over the shoulder. That one was a lot tougher than it looked, ladies and gentlemen. Nice job athletically for Smith to run that one down. Back-to-back plays for him to end this top of the second inning. Mammoths out in front, though, 3-0 against the Beavers. We head to the home half of the second. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. 7, 8, 9 due up for the Beavers in the home half of the second. Travis McQueen back out there for his second inning of work. Faced off against 6 batters of the Beavers, struck out 1, gave up 2 singles, had a walk against him. But now he'll start Daniel Oliveri, former Eastside Diamond Hopper turned Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver, with a strike on the outside half. Count 0-1 on Oliveri. The 0-1 offer fouled off a little early on it was Oliveri, and now he's down deep in the count 0-2. He'll have to protect here.
Are we going to call Oliveri the Kevin Durant of the USPBL, joining the champions?
Not sure if he had anything to do with changing his teams, but you could say it, yeah.
No, I'm just giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
I don't think that's warranted at all.
No. But a good eye there on the 0-2 pitch. Oliveri staying alive. Oliveri in the left field slot here today. Also plays a little bit of everything. But on that 0-2 pitch, Oliveri went around enough. First base umpire, Mr. Gary Wagenschutz, saying that he had went around. And now Chris Newell, manager of the Beavers, having something to say to the home plate umpire, Mr. Ron Norquist. And Newell's got a case for his player here. It didn't really look like Oliveri had went all the way around, but, I mean, you really couldn't do much more if you're Ron Norquist. Ask your partner for help, and
yeah,
Wagenschutz called him out. I don't know why Newell's having issues with Norquist. He, if anything, should have been talking to Wagenschutz over there at first.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. There's no reason to, unless there was, the one thing that could have happened is there was a disconnect between the first base umpire and home plate umpire, but I saw him point down to first. So yeah, that's really not that has nothing to do with the man behind the plate.
Yeah, maybe Newell was asking why he even asked Wagenschutz over at first, as Newell might have thought it was a little bit crazy to even ask Wagenschutz at first base. But either way, Oliveri's retired for the first out. Nothing the Beavers can really do about it now. Just going to have to keep the nose to the grindstone and continue to try and attack here against McQueen as you're trailing the Mammoths early here in this one, 3-0. If you're just joining us, Mammoths with 3 runs in the top of the first. They got those 3 runs on 4 hits, a double and 3 singles, or excuse me, 2 doubles and 2 singles, my apologies. Meanwhile, Christian Helsel, the batter, he's looked at a couple more pitches. The count now 3-1 in his favor. McQueen trying to avoid the first walk of the inning, second of the day, and my goodness, Christian Helsel, not sure what he was doing there, whether he was thinking swing out of the box and then tried to get out of the way at the same time, but an ugly swing right there to bring the count full.
Yeah, we've seen a few uncomfortable swings, and all of them have been on the inner part of the plate.
Fastball missing high out of the zone, so a 1-out walk for Christian Helsel. Have the Beavers motoring here as we get to the number 9 hitter, center fielder, James Batley. Batley, in the first few games with the Beavers, batted in the leadoff spot. Main reason for that was his speed, but hasn't had the numbers that he would have liked so far through the season. Batting average only at 150 through the first 6 games. The man out of Zion, Illinois.
The one thing that could help Batley is batting on the 9 slot. There's a little less pressure as opposed to leading off a ball game, and you can still make major contributions as almost a second leadoff hitter. So there's still, it's not the worst news in the world that Batley's down to the 9 slot.
There's a big cut there on the 2-0 pitch. Batley with a good swing, just couldn't get anything on it. And I'll tell you what, even if Batley hits a ground ball here, it'd be tough to get to if you're the Mammoths. Try and get the lead runner in Helsel. Plenty more speed coming out of the box from Batley. He gets frozen up on the 2-1. Looked to be a changeup from our vantage point here. Nice pitch from McQueen. He features a fastball, a curveball, a slider, and that changeup. And put out pitch, he really kind of uses both the slider and the changeup. See if he goes back with the slider there, and right on cue he does. Meanwhile, Helsel taking second base, so might have spoke too soon about those wheels. A really nice reaction there from the first baseman. He was going the second that ball hit the dirt, got a good jump on the baseball, and Jake Barbie couldn't really do anything with it. As Helsel moves into scoring position now, Batley works the count full with the base open at first. McQueen, fastball swung on and missed. Batley can't get the job done with the runner in scoring position. 2 outs, both via the K for the Beavers here in this home half of the second inning. Back to the top of the order we go.
That strikeout actually makes that Helsel stolen base a little more important, because it would have been first and second if it was a walk or a base hit. But now you have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. And I wouldn't say Helsel got down to second base that fast, but he had a great jump. As soon as that ball hit the dirt, he committed to that.
You don't have to be a fast base runner to be a good one. Prince Fielder, one of the best at it in his career, and people might think I'm joking, but I am dead serious. He was one of the smartest guys on the base pass, even though he was a bigger guy as far as stature goes. And
same with Miguel.
He could wheel.
Miguel obviously has lost some speed over his pretty long career, but he's a smart base runner, and that's a big part of it. And you can be fast, you can be athletic, but if you're not baseball smart, that takes a lot of that speed away.
You were exactly right about that. Meanwhile, Ryan Smith, not so smart on the 0-1 offer, tries to hold back but couldn't. That baseball bat was stuck out there just enough for it to make contact with the baseball. It goes out of play, and Ryan Smith quickly here down 0-2. His first at-bat in that first inning, he flew out to Tommy Fiesel in left field, and he caught that one on a run. Forced Fiesel to work here. But if you're McQueen, I wouldn't give anything close to the zone to Smith. And look at that, right on cue. Slider that falls over the heart of the plate. Coming in to possibly score is the base runner, Christian Helsel. Play at the plate, in time, out at the plate. Nice play relay from the left fielder, Tommy Fiesel, into the plate by Barbie. The tag is made, and the out is recorded. Beavers try and get a run in there in the home half of the second, but nothing that the Mammoths couldn't handle. They still lead it 3-0 after 2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Drew Kell here with you. Got the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers trailing the Westside Woolly Mammoths 3-0 after 2. And the man of the hour last night, Mr. Drew Kitson, standing in. He had that SportsCenter Top 10 play nominee at the number 5 slot, robbing the leadoff hitter of our game yesterday night, Spencer Ibarra, of a home run to dead center field. If you haven't seen it, should. Kitson, the highlight reel play, could be the play of the year. I wouldn't be mad if it ended up not being the play of the year. We're hoping and expecting to get back on those top 10 plays. As you know, the league has been recognized now, so if we see something like that once again, got to imagine that we'll be back out there on SportsCenter. Once again, big shout out to our Vice President of Marketing, Mr. Scott McDonald, for putting all that together to get this league some more notice. And meanwhile, Kitson, who doubled and drove in a run in his first plate appearance, can't do anything in his second try. He'll swing and miss at a breaking ball for Mattern for out number 1. And how about the job we're seeing out of Mattern after the first inning of play?
Yeah, he's mixing his pitches better since that first inning. He's hitting his spots better. And really, those two things right there are that's how you win baseball games.
Yeah, Mattern has retired the last 6 batters that he has faced. He'll now deal with Brandon Cuddy, who was one of the outs in that first inning of trouble that we saw for Mattern. He actually struck out Cuddy for the first strikeout of the game.
Going back to that SportsCenter talk, it's May still. We have a lot of baseball to be played, and I wouldn't be shocked if we saw 2 or 3 more plays like that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, there's definitely the talent level here at the USPBL, so really only a matter of time before we see another play on SportsCenter. Just hoping from here on out we'll get the call on there with it. Tried to get it yesterday, but just didn't have the time to get it on there before it could be sent to ESPN. But we'll have it from here on out. Meanwhile, Cuddy looks at the 1-1 offer. This one a strike on the outside part of the plate. Count 1-2 on Cuddy. Mattern looking for his second strikeout in a row. Second strikeout of the day against Cuddy. He almost gets him with that front door slider. Could have been a curveball. Either way, breaking ball inside evens the count up at 2-2.
And that was the right idea. Went right at his hip, and it broke just not far enough, but good pitch by Mattern.
2-2 pitch in the dirt, held off by Cuddy. He stays alive for at least one more pitch as home plate umpire Mr. Braun Norquist checks with Gary Wagenschuts over at first base, but you can't really tell with the left-hander up there at the plate.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough angle. With this 3-2 count, it's a predictable fastball count.
And there you go, right on cue.
Yeah, that could be dangerous for a guy who's only throwing 82, 83 miles an hour. You want to stay out of these predictable fastball counts because that can lead to trouble.
So you just saw the 3-2 fastball. It gets fouled off. We see another opportunity here at the 3-2. Mattern, with that fastball that he's lost about 6 to 8 miles an hour off of since he's been with the USPBL, but also can work the curve, the slider, and the change, a couple of off-speed pitches. I would try and go with something along those lines there, but instead he tries the fastball, and it looked like he was trying to paint that outside corner. Unfortunately, could not keep the control down, and because of it, Brandon Cuddy walks over to first base with the one-out base on balls.
Yeah, we're going to see how Mattern bounces back while there's traffic on the base paths. It kind of got to him in the first inning. In the second inning, he was able to work a clean inning, so it'll be interesting to see how a base runner affects the way he pitches.
Tyler Pagano standing in. Cuddy over at first base. Pagano 1 for 1 on the afternoon with the RBI single back in the first that drove in Kitson.
Yeah, Pagano, very sharp single we saw. Really got a hold of it.
Yeah, Pagano out of Pinkerington, Ohio, but a short trip from his alma mater, Oakland University. 1-0 pitch. Fastball misses outside. Quickly, 2 pitches here to Pagano. He's looked at both of them out of the strike zone. You got to be really careful if you're Brandon Mattern here. And if you're going to miss low, because you can maybe get a ground ball out of it. 2-0 pitch. There it is.
Good call.
Miss low, and Pagano makes contact. Ground ball was hit. Just goes about 15 feet to the left of the foul line. So a good pitch for Mattern on the 2-0 to keep this at-bat a battle.
Yeah, I think Pagano's seeing the ball very well. He's squared up pretty much everything he's swung at, and he's looking at balls that are tough to lay off of. So he's doing a nice job. Yeah,
he's really making Mattern work now as Mattern had retired the last 2 batters of the first inning, 3 straight in the second, and then retired Kitson for the strikeout to begin this 3rd inning. That was 6 batters in a row. Cuddy reaches on the walk, and now Pagano with a good hitter's count at 3-1. Hits a line drive out to left field. This one could be trouble at the wall, and it's going to go over. A 2-run shot for Tyler Pagano, his first home run of the season, and it's a big one. It gives the Mammoths the 5-0 lead against the Beavers.
Yeah, that's tough. Mattern pitching a lot better in these last couple of batters, and that's very unfortunate. He just left the breaking ball right over the heart of the plate, and that was just a pretty easy piece of hitting for Pagano, who turned on it with ease and flipped it over that left field wall.
Yeah, this game of baseball, it's a beautiful game, but it can be cruel at some times. And Mattern, who had started to get back in some type of groove, honestly probably the best we've seen him pitch all year long. We mentioned he had 4 relief appearances coming into play today, making his first start, and struggles continue here as the walk leads to the home run, and Whisker on the first pitch that is delivered to him, I think it got a little piece of his foot on the breaking ball. So Whisker keeps the Mammoths going here in this top of the 3rd inning, and more trouble brewing now is Jalen Lawson standing in for the 2nd time today, just in the 3rd inning. His 2nd at-bat through 3 innings yesterday. He had taken one for a ride that drove in 3 runs, so could see back-to-back 2-run homers for the Mammoths if Jalen Lawson has anything to say about it. There is a right-hander getting loose out in the Birmingham Bloomfield bullpen. Get you that number as soon as we hear.
Right now, Mattern's job is to get through this inning and hopefully one more, because you're going to make things pretty tough on the guys who are going to come in later in this game, and then going into game 2. And hopefully McKenzie, who will start game 2, can eat up some innings for the Beavers.
Meanwhile, on the 2-0 pitch, Lawson, one of the more aggressive hitters in this USPBL, takes a big cut, fouls it off. Count goes to 2-1, and the man out in the bullpen for the Beavers, it's number 35, Brian Heldman, the man out of Round Rock, Texas, the San Diego State University native, that sort of submarine-type pitcher who has had a good season for the Beavers. Actually has a win under his belt so far this year. That was back on May the 17th against these woolly Mammoths.
You mentioned Lawson's aggressiveness. I think this 3-1 pitch, we might be seeing it.
3-1, you know, I bet Lawson was ready for it, but Mattern just could not get anything near the zone. That one so far that I honestly think I might have even laid off of that one. And that's saying a lot for some of you that don't know my hitting abilities. There's a reason I'm up here in the booth and not down there on the field. But Mattern has ran into enough trouble, and Chris Newell's going to end up taking him out here. It will be Mattern that comes onto the bump. We'll take a quick little break here with a couple runners on the base pass via the hit by pitch and the base on balls. Just not the stuff that Mattern was hoping for. The 3 runs in the first and 2 more here in the 3rd have taken him out of this one.
And that could very well be his last start in a Beavers uniform.
Yeah, we'll see if he either goes back to the bullpen or possibly stay with the team. You never know what could happen, but we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll let you know what Mattern's final line was, and then bring you in Mr. Brian Heldman, and we will have more action when we come back. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Matterns Day, all said and done. He goes just 2 1/3, gives up 5 earned runs on 5 hits, allows 2 walks, has 2 strikeouts, and did hit a batter. He gives way to Brian Heldman for the Beavers in his 7th appearance already from the bullpen. Let's hear a little bit more on his numbers.
Yeah, he's done a very nice job in this early going. Has not allowed an earned run yet, which is a positive. And it's good to see he bounced back from a tough season last year. In 18 games, he had an ERA that was about 9. So he's really done a nice job probably tweaking mechanics, finding the arm slot that works for him. And we've seen it so far. It's paid off, and the numbers reflect that.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to interview Brian Heldman once this year down at our studio desk that we have interviews with players, coaches, staff, front office, you name it, for pregame festivities out in our area in front of our main gates when fans are walking in, as Thomas takes a big cut at the 0-1 offer. That fastball swung on and missed, but Heldman had talked about how much he had worked this offseason, and it's clearly showing numbers just night and day compared from last season to this year. Already 7 innings under his belt this year and 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. But the biggest thing, like you mentioned, Drew, that 0.00 ERA coming into play today through those first 6 relief appearances. And for fans that don't know Brian Heldman, he's got a unique delivery. About 95% of the time he's going to be attacking you from that sidearm submarine angle, and then occasionally he'll bring it up to the 3/4, and then we've actually seen once where he throws a regular windup over the top, and can't imagine what that must be like from a hitting perspective, seeing all 3 types of arm slots. He goes down and dirty to get Thomas to chase after the slider for the second out. Second strikeout of the inning for the Woolly Mammoths, and that'll bring up Jake Barbie, the catcher.
You mentioned the different arm slots, and he mixes pitches up very well there, but that's all part of the art of pitching, as Jim Price once said. He's done a very nice job of deceiving all these hitters that he's faced in the early going in 2018.
So Heldman will now deal with Jake Barbie, who grounded out to Rob Pauler that started off the 2nd inning.
And keep in mind, Rich, the line for Mattern isn't complete yet. He's responsible for both of these runners on base right now.
Yeah, already 5 earned runs against Mattern in this short outing. But if you're Mattern, got to put your faith and trust in Brian Heldman. He's been arguably one of the best bullpen arms we've seen so far this season. Will Marshall, of course, up there as well with the Utica Unicorns. Had a good outing last night in relief. 4 innings, allowed just 1 hit, 1 walk, didn't give up any runs, and that kept a close game with the Mammoths. And the difference was the man over there on first base, Jalen Lawson's 3-run homer back in the 3rd inning. And then the Mammoths kind of just cruised onward from that. The combination of Joel Sharon, Josh Mollett, Mike McGee, excuse me, did a really nice job in the pen for the Mammoths last night. As this ball is hit into the left center field area, Batley ranging to the track right in front of the wall. He'll make the catch on the run. Barbie is retired for the 2nd time here today, but Tyler Pagano takes Braden Mattern yard for a 2-run homer, and that gives the Mammoths the 5-0 lead. We head to the home half of the 3rd. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Drew Kell here with you. Gorgeous Sunday afternoon baseball here at the ballpark. Game 1 of 2, as the second game will be a reschedule of what we were hoping to have our official opening day back on May the 11th. The game was only, I believe, 3 batters in. If I check back at the first page of my scorebook here, we got through a ground out and 2 walks when Mark Seiler had started the game for the Mammoths, but the game could not be completed. Therefore, all those stats went away, and Thomas Rulis putting one up the middle on the 1-1 count gives the Beavers their first lick of a base runner here in this home half of the 3rd inning. And I'll tell you what, we've talked about Thomas Rulis as the 2017 batting champion, and that hit right there really exemplified the whole process of why he became the hitter of the year last year in the USPBL. He only had 1 home run. You think hitter of the year, you expect a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs, but Thomas Rulis had about a .350 batting average in about 40 games with the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, and most of his hits were of that variety. Base knocks, in gaps, where he can just get on base, singles, a lot of doubles. Simple, but he gets the job done, and he's a big reason why the Beavers were champions last year, and he's trying to get him back in this one here as they trail at 5-0 here early in the 3rd.
Yeah, very short, compact swing. It's very simple. There's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of moving parts. He just stays on the ball and makes it a short, easy swing.
Long swing there from Poller. Hits a pop-up. Looks like it'll be enough to get to the stands, and it does. Looks like it finds a lucky fan. I think everybody's okay down there, but it did, in fact, make contact. Might be a nice bruise.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe an unlucky fan.
Yeah, we got ice if need be, but nobody rushing to really take care of anything, but it looks like somebody will, in fact, get a little ice on the kneecap, little Sunday burner, but everybody seems to be okay for now. Poller, meanwhile, even in the count, 1-1, hits a high fly ball. You can forget about this one. It's a lawn home run, and that one will make the game 5-2. Poller with the 2-run homer drives in him and Rulis. Beavers on the board. It's 5-2.
You mentioned the short swing for Rulis. Poller with a very short swing there, except he has some power behind his, and that was another very simple motion. Got a little hanging breaking ball right over the heart of the plate, and he just knocked it right out of there.
2 words: launch, angle.
Yeah, Poller showed us there. It's important. As the professional game evolves, we've been seeing that term thrown around a lot more. Launch angle is a big deal these days.
Yeah, we talked about Nico Lolio of the Utica Unicorns and how he's going to try and implement the launch angle perspective to try and get more home runs on the season, and Rob Poller doing a prime job of that right there, taking that one onto the right field lawn area. And then this one's going to be a tough play. Look at the effort there, though, from Skylar Mercado. He actually dives and runs into, or excuse me, that was Jordan Thomas. My apologies. He and Thomas Fiesel sort of make a little bit of contact, and it looks like Thomas might have gotten the worst of that one. You got to love the effort that we saw right there, but he's clearly in a little bit of pain sitting on his behind out there in left field. Got to imagine he's just sort of shooken up. Nothing too scary as the trainers making their way out to check on Jordan Thomas.
Well, he's walking on his own power, which is a good sign.
Got up on his own.
And the play that just happened, it's very easy to say you got to communicate, call it, but when you're 2 guys going full speed, it's hard to communicate and also try to make a play on the ball. And unfortunately, looks like a few Woolly Mammoths were shaken up on the play.
Yeah, Tommy Fiesel, the left fielder, he seems to be all right as he's now having a conversation with the star from last night, Drew Kitson, as he's getting checked on. Not sure if he's going to stay in. Now manager Shane McCaddy out to talk with him. Everybody walking off. We'll see if Jordan Thomas stays at his position or if he continues to walk off the field. Looks like McCaddy and the trainers are walking back to the dugout down the first baseline, and Jordan Thomas will stay at his position at least for now, but hold on. Okay, looks like he'll be good. He's playing catch with Travis McQueen, gives the thumbs up, so that's a good sign to see there from Mr. Thomas to stay in this one. Tough player right there.
Yeah, a lot of times players will try to give it a go, and then maybe the next half inning or next plate appearance, something won't feel right, and that's when they exit the game, so keep an eye out for that. But as of now, it's good to see he's okay, because that didn't look good in real time.
Yeah, glad to see everybody's all right, but the Mammoths really clinging on to this 3-run lead now. They've given up a single, a home run, and now a double. Travis McQueen's going to really have to bear down now if he's going to want to not only last through 5 innings, but try and end up in the victory column here this afternoon.
Yeah, he's struggling this inning, really leaving his curveball over the heart of the plate, and it's allowed for some solid contact. And unfortunately, that last play was weak contact, but there's a double that came out of it. So right now, McQueen really needs to grind to get these 3 outs.
Yeah, Hranek over there on second base. Mercado on the 0-1, swings right through that breaking ball. Looked to be the slider out of the right-handed Travis McQueen, but you saw between the 2 strikes right there, he had brought his leg up and went towards second base. He was not only checking on Hranek at second, but I believe he was trying to see if Mercado was going to try and lay down a bunt with the count at 0-1, but instead he swings right through the 0-1 effort, and now looking at the 0-2 breaking ball outside brings the count to 1-2. Mercado with a great at-bat in the first inning, worked the count 7 pitches and had a walk to his credit. 1-2 pitch, fastball just missing inside, evens the count up at 2-2.
I think McQueen hit a spot there, unfortunately, just a little too close to Skylar Mercado, but once again, he executed the pitch he wanted to make.
Yeah, probably could have went either way, but Ron Norquist behind the dish with the best view as this 2-2 pitch held off. There's that slider once again, so fastball misses inside, and he goes back to the slider on the outside half that misses as well. So you got the fastball inside, slider outside. Do you try and go back to that fastball inside but have it be over the heart of the plate?
Yeah, I don't want to leave anything over the heart of the plate right now. We'll see.
There's that fastball inside once again, but Mercado with a better eye up there. Second walk of the day for, or excuse me, third walk of the day, my apologies, for Mr. McQueen. And that brings runners to first and second now. And meanwhile, Shane McCaddy, the manager, coming out to have a conversation. Nobody getting loose in the Westside bullpen just yet. So merely a conversation of confidence build-up here for McQueen. He had been really well through the first 2 innings. He allowed just 3 hits, no runs, had 3 strikeouts through the first 2 frames, but Robert Poller with that 2-run homer after Rulis had taken one into the right field grass for a single. And Hranek with that no-out double, and that leads to this base on balls for Mercado. 2 on the day for him. Got to really attack Hunter Wood here now, who's over 1 with a strikeout. A really nice opportunity to get 2 and, heck, maybe even 3.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw as McCaddy was walking out to the mound, a bunch of woolly mammoths scurried to that right field bullpen. So that trip may have been to talk about strategy and how he's going to attack Hunter Wood, but it also could have possibly bought some time for some of those bullpen arms.
Yeah, dual purpose there for Shane McCaddy as Hunter Wood stands in here now. First plate appearance, we mentioned he had the strikeout. That was with bases loaded and 2 outs that ended the threat in the first. So another opportunity for Wood to try and get his stats into a better area. Meanwhile, this ball's going to stay in the park, but it'll be too far for Tommy Fiesel's liking. He used all his speed that he could, just placed perfectly. Was that pop-up from Hunter Wood. The count even at 1-1.
Yeah, another big spot for Hunter Wood. He struggled in the early parts of this season, and I said it in his first plate appearance with the bases loaded, and I'll say it again here. If he can shoot a gap here or hit it over the wall, even a solid single, that's something that in this situation could really boost your confidence for upcoming games, not just today.
Yeah, Wood, his numbers at the plate haven't been that good so far this season. Looks like he might ground into 2 here, and in fact he will. The 6-4-3 putout. We've seen that twice yesterday from Thomas and Lawson. They do it here once again today, and that's a big sigh of relief for McQueen. Hranick does move to third, but Mercado and Wood are retired for outs number 1 and 2. A big job there from McQueen to get the ground ball that leads to 2 outs.
Yeah, it looked like a slider that was down in the zone, and that's exactly what you want to do to get that ground ball double play.
So now Daniel Oliveri stands in. He swings at the first pitch that he is offered. McQueen doing it all on his own there. Retires Oliveri on the ground out, right back to him. The 1-3 put out retires Oliveri for the third and final out, but a 2-run homer off the bat of Rob Pauler put the Beavers on the board in the home half of the third. We head to the fourth. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to today's USPBL YouTube broadcast. Rich Borland alongside Drew Kell for today's doubleheader. If you're just joining us, Mammoths out in front of the Beavers through 3 frames by a score of 5-2. 3 runs in the first, 2 more in the third. Excuse me, as the Beavers put up 2 on a 2-run homer from Rob Pauler in the home half of the third. Top of the fourth we go. Got Brian Heldman out for his first full frame of work. David Kimbrough II, the 9-hole hitter. Tommy Fiesel and Drew Kitson drew up for the Mammoths in this top half of the fourth inning. Heldman starts off Kimbrough off with a breaking ball that stays inside on the hands. One-0 pitch, fouled off. Out of play it goes. Heldman out of San Diego, 34 strikeouts in 27 innings pitched as a senior at San Diego State University. He was actually recruited by Arizona State and Tulsa. He was top 10 in the NCAA in appearances in 2015. Got to imagine he's going to be up there in the appearances conversation when this season is all said and done, pending how long he stays a part of the USPBL.
Yeah, if he keeps these numbers up and keeps throwing the way he's throwing, I wouldn't be shocked to see him get signed by a major league club.
Kimbrough down in the count here, 1-2. Got no idea what's going to be coming out of that hand of Heldman. The breaking ball slider from that angle, nearly impossible to hit. And Kimbrough's retired for the second time here tonight. Back to the top of the order we go, and Thomas Fiesel, who's 1 for 2 on the afternoon.
Yeah, Kimbrough still looking for his first base knock of this 2018 campaign, and he's not going to get it if he keeps getting Helsel's nastiest slider, as we just saw there. That was a beautiful pitch.
Heldman versus Fiesel. Fiesel trying to get his second hit on the day. Almost gets hit right there with that fastball that misses low and inside.
Every one of these Helsel pitches, we're seeing good quality movement. And I think that's in large part due to the arm angle that Helsel features.
There's that arm angle once again from Heldman, but Tommy Fiesel putting a good piece of wood on it. That's his second single of the day. 2 for 3 thus far. He also has a stolen base to his credit already, so wouldn't be too surprised if Fiesel tries to get put in motion here again with Drew Kitson standing in. Had that RBI double and a run scored back in the first.
How long do you think Kitson's going to be on that high from being on the top 10? Because that'd be on top of the world.
I mean, you make it onto ESPN, national network, worldwide leader in sports, get recognized for something you did, and I was just shocked he made that play. It was the first play of the game. You know, some guys would still be in sort of that different state of mind where you're still trying to get locked in, but Kitson was ready to go right from the first pitch, and on the third pitch of the game, he made that incredible play. If you haven't seen it, once again, go to any of our social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, it's on there. Kitson with a tremendous robbing of a home run last night, and now trying to take second base is Fiesel, and he will. Not a bad throw there from Hunter Wood, just too much speed there on the base pass was Fiesel. Bang, bang play at the base, just not in time. The one hopper allows Fiesel to get into scoring position.
And a very good jump that we just saw Fiesel get was really allowed him to get into second base sliding. Can you imagine waking up, watching SportsCenter, getting ready for your doubleheader, and you see yourself out there?
Definitely got to be a big motivational factor for Kitson, and he turned it into that double in his first plate appearance, drove in a run and came in to score himself as part of that 3-run first inning for the Mammoths. And yeah, Kitson's got to be at an all-time high, got recognized in between a couple of half innings on the big screen. There was the replay. He got a nice recognition, so see if Kitson can continue his success here. There's that slider on the inside part of the plate. Kitson couldn't do anything but sit there and appreciate it. Second strikeout of the inning for Brian Heldman, both of the strikeout variety.
This is a comparison that's pretty bold, and forgive me, but he reminds me a lot of Sergio Romo back in the day.
Okay.
Not the arm angle's a little different. They both have a lower arm angle, but they don't use their velocity to their advantage. They really use their arm angle and the movement on their pitches. Because I remember back when I was an 8th grader watching the 2012 World Series, and I just saw Sergio Romo tear up the Tigers, and he was only throwing, what, mid-80s? Mm-hmm. We're kind of seeing the same thing here, where Heldman isn't overpowering these hitters, but he's using his arm angle and the filthy movement on his pitches.
A recipe for success. Heldman has pitched well throughout the entire season thus far. And he's continuing it here today in his 7th relief appearance of the season. Yet to give up a run, but an opportunity for the Mammoths to get one off of Heldman here with Fiesel in scoring position. Brandon Cuddy, the batter here, looks at ball number 1, evens the count up at 1-1. Sunday fun day here at the ballpark. Beauty and Beast here with you with Fairy Tale Entertainment. They'll be here every Sunday at the ballpark. Great day to bring the family and the kids out to Jimmy John's Field if you got some Sundays open in the next few weeks and basically up until all the way through September. So no excuse not to make it out to the ballpark. Plenty of open availability still left. Not much left in the month of May or in the month of June, but July, August, and September still with plenty of availability. Cuddy ahead in the count, 2-1 against Brian Heldman. The 2-1 offer, called strike on the outside part of the plate. Cuddy not agreeing with Ron Norquist, but it was close enough where it could be called a strike, and now he'll have to protect here on the 2-2 pitch. Pagano, who's 2 for 2 on the day with a home run, a single, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored, looming on deck.
Yeah, that last pitch was absolutely placed perfectly, and there was nothing Cuddy could really do about it.
Heldman with that delivery from down under retires Cuddy for the 3rd strikeout of the inning. He strikes out the side, does give up that single and stolen base to Thomas Fiesel, but we're through 3.5. Mammoths still out in front by 3. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the 4th we go. Rich Borland, Drew Kell on the call with you. Christian Helsel standing in for the Beavers to begin this home half of the 4th. Helsel, Batley, and Smith due up. Helsel already down in the count 0-1. Looks at a ball to even the count up at 1-1. Helsel on the afternoon reached on a base on balls and was actually thrown out at the plate that ended the 2nd inning, where on the single from Ryan Smith, Thomas Fiesel had thrown a laser to the plate that retired Helsel for the 3rd and final out in dramatic fashion. The 2-1 pitch, called strike on the outside part of the plate.
That throw you were referring to didn't even hop once, didn't even take a bounce, it just straight to the glove.
This one popped up. If it stays in the field of play, it's going to be a tough one. Both the catcher and the first baseman over there to try and make the play, but instead a fan in about the third row will do it. Won't go down in the books as an out, but nice little web gem right there and right on cue. Grown man who made the catch, but he hands it off to a little girl. That's pretty much what this league's all about, just making the fans happy and everybody over there having a good time.
Especially on this Sunday fun day, it's about the kids. It's always about the kids.
Always here at Jimmy John's Field. Meanwhile, Helsel staying alive in this at-bat. Helsel, the man out of Altoona, Pennsylvania, fouls off another one, continuing to fight here in this one.
Yeah, McQueen really giving everything he has to Helsel. I've seen a few fastballs, a few breaking balls, and Helsel's on top of really everything he's seen to this point.
Continuing to fight. You saw fan right there walking across, almost got drilled, as you'll see it. Almost got a bad piece of him there. Helsel continuing to protect, though. And this one, lined into left field. Can Fiesel do it again? No, he cannot. On the run, it gets past him off the wall in left field. Rounding first and walking into second with a stand-up double. Christian Helsel with his first knock of the day.
Yeah, I said it in the middle of the at-bat. He was not fooled by anything McQueen featured. And we just saw that nice, short, compact swing that we've been talking about all day. All these guys who are consistently putting the bat on the ball have short, compact swings. And we just saw it there from Helsel. And we'll see if Batley can continue the trend.
Yeah, Batley 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout back in the second inning. Batley, talk about his speed all we want, but he's had a tough time statistically at the plate so far this season. First couple of games with the Beavers, we saw him in that leadoff spot. Now batting in the ninth hole with the Beavers in the last few games. Working as that double leadoff spot, a lot less pressure like we've talked about. But still the results waiting to come here for Batley as that pitch, fastball outside corner, called for a strike, evens the count up at 1-1. Helsel out there in scoring position. Batley with an opportunity to cut the Westside Woolly Mammoth lead to 2. That one inside on the hands. Good swing, but just could not get good contact on it.
And I've noticed a little bit of a shift on Batley. Not anything crazy, but we see Lawson a couple steps into the grass. So just a little different look that we really haven't seen a whole lot of in the early part of the season.
McQueen keeping tabs on Helsel over there at second base. Batley will have to protect and take a less aggressive approach here down in the count 1-2. Contact made, hits over to the left side. It'll be enough to get the runner over to third base. So a productive out for Batley, even though he was trying to get that ball hit to the right side of the infield. But a really nice jump there from Helsel gets him over to third base as Batley is retired via the 6-3 putout for out number 1.
It wasn't pretty. Batley, as you mentioned, was trying to hit something to the right side of the infield, but he got the job done, even if it wasn't the way he wanted to. And James will certainly get some high fives as he goes back to the dugout.
So now Ryan Smith back to the top of this Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver lineup we go. McQueen still out there. A line shot over to the shortstop, Mr. Jordan Thomas. Nice quick reaction time there to retire Ryan Smith for out number 2, but he almost got 2 for the price of 1. Christian Helsel's done a really nice job. We talked about not necessarily being the fastest guy out on the diamond, but playing very smart out there on the base pass. Stays over at third instead of trying to go home with it, and he stays put at third. And now Thomas Rulis will try and drive him in. You got a runner in scoring position. No better guy you'd want up at the plate if you're the Beavers here, in a desperate need to try and cut down this West Side lead. And then if you're McQueen, trying to retire the best hitter in this Birmingham lineup, as McQueen's pitching continuing to rise here as, take a look, that was ball number 29 thrown by McQueen. In total, he's at 77 pitches. A good ratio, 48 strikes to 29 balls. That pitch right there, swung on and missed. Rulis even in the count at 1-1. Infield, outfield for the most part at normal depth. Both middle infielders playing a little bit more back. Rulis, another one of those guys with really good contact, not a ton of speed, but sort of in the middle of the pack there.
Yeah, and this is a pivotal at bat in the game where you have your most consistent, most trusted hitter at the box and a runner at third and a chance to cut this lead to 2. And when whatever happens here, if you see Rulis get a base hit or even get out, there's going to be some change in momentum, in my opinion.
1-2 pitch. There's that changeup in the dirt. Really nice job by Jake Barbie, the man behind the dish for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, to keep Housel from scoring. But Rulis continuing to work here. A really nice eye to even the count up at 2-2.
Yeah, Rulis, he's just a very professional hitter. Nothing too flashy about him. He just gets in the box, has a very simple stance, a simple approach.
Ground ball over to the left side. It'll be a tough play for Thomas, but in time, he retires Rulis. Rulis goes down for the first time today. He's now 2 for 3 with 2 singles, but the Beavers try to get a run, but they cannot come in to score. It's still 5-2 as we head to the 5th. Mammoths out in front. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Drew Kell here with you. We're through 4 frames between the Westside Woolly Mammoths and Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. Mammoths coming off a victory last night against the Utica Unicorns. That was a fun game we had on tap. Had a SportsCenter top 10 play. Had a massive home run from Jalen Lawson. It's been an interesting and fun game also here today. A little bit of issue down that right field line as we saw Christian Helsel, Rob Pauler, and Ryan Smith converging over into that fair territory down that line. But Helsel taking charge, the big fella, the first baseman, realistically, the reason he got that, he was just taller than Pollard. Those two guys were both right there. Helsel just found the glove first, and one up, one down here retires Pagano. That'll give way to Ethan Whisker.
And I believe the sun was a factor on that play, as those three Beavers all converged. I don't think there's any chance that the sun didn't have a factor in that play.
Meanwhile, Whisker standing in for the third time here this afternoon. Hits a hard ground ball that goes foul down that left field line. A nice afternoon thus far with a double and an RBI. Also was hit by a pitch and reached second in the third. Whisker having a really good season thus far, batting .400 through his first 4 games with these Mammoths. And a hard ground ball hit to the left side, and it eats up the shortstop, Skylar Mercado. It hit the last lip of the infield grass before it got to the infield dirt, and the spin on that ball just completely ate up Mercado. That'll go down in the books as an E6, and with that, that'll bring up Jalen Lawson, who had that 3-run homer last night. Let's see if the mistake comes back to haunt the Beavers.
Yeah, I think that was a little combination of laziness and also a pretty tough hop. The spin on the ball combined with where it hit on the infield, hit the lip of the grass. That's not a particularly easy play to make.
So, Drew, you've played in the past. What would you say Mercado could have done better there to prevent the ball from eating him up?
Well, I was a former middle infielder back in my day, and what I really tried to do is create a good hop for myself, as opposed to letting the ball eat me up. I wanted to make create a hop for myself and charge the ball, and whether sometimes, depending on the play, sometimes take a step back to give yourself a hop, but for the most part, you're charging in and making it an easier hop for yourself.
Yeah, Mercado just a little hesitant there, and the result follows. And he might have another opportunity if Lawson hits a hard ground ball to him, but it'll be tough with both Whisker and him on the base pass. Lawson has worked the count 2-0 in his favor. Heldman with a pitch. It's in on the hands, but Lawson with an early enough swing. He hits that one down in the left field corner. Rounding second, heading to third, but stopping there is Whisker. He gets up 180 feet closer to scoring. Lawson strides into second with the double, and the Mammoths continuing to have a good approach at the plate that we saw last night and into today here. Lawson's really proven himself here as of late.
Yeah, Lawson has a pretty noticeable leg kick, and right now that timing is completely where it needs to be, and we saw a home run last night, and we see a very solid double into the left field corner tonight. So I think Lawson's at a good spot right now.
And you talked about getting that front leg down and talked about timing. I don't know if you saw what the best player in Major League Baseball did the other night in the Bronx. Mike Trout went 5 for 5, had a home run, a double, and 3 singles to his credit. And he was having a post-game interview with John Morosi of the Fox Sports crew, and he was talking about how if he can see the ball timing-wise and get that foot down firsthand, the trouble for opponents, has no ceiling. And Lawson kind of doing the same thing that Trout did, is put a really good piece of wood on that one as it went down into that left field corner for a double.
Yeah, timing is one of the biggest factors when it comes to hitting, and when you have your timing down, it allows you to see the ball better, and the mental aspect of it too. Your confidence is sky high when you're seeing the ball well and timing it well.
So runners on second and third. Jordan Thomas, the batter, 0 for 2 on the day. Fly out to left, a strikeout swinging, but a big opportunity against Heldman. This one getting away from Hunter Wood behind the dish, count moving to 1-2. But we talked about Heldman coming into play today. He's not given up a earned run all season long. This is probably the toughest spot that he's been in throughout this 2018 season with the Beavers. Still a long way to go, but if you can retire Thomas here for 2 outs, that'll definitely change the feeling he's got right there pressure-wise. The 1-2, did he go all the way? Looked good from up here, but first base umpire Gary Wagenschutz said that he held up just enough. It was right on the fringe right there.
Yeah, looked like he went to me. It was a good pitch, and it looked like he broke the wrist and should have been a swing. However, that's not the best angle at the shortstop position where the field umpire is located right now. But for Heldman, I want to see how he handles this adversity because as you said, he hasn't really been in a situation like this before.
And there's that slider from that three-quarters angle. Heldman gets Thomas to chase for the second time today. That was actually the first batter that Heldman had faced when he came in to relieve Mattern. And he had retired Thomas. That's a second strikeout of the day Heldman has against the starting shortstop for this Westside team. And look at that. It looks as if Chris Newell will be going to the bullpen once here again, but a nice outing for Brian Heldman. And we'll tell you his numbers and then let you know the new man on the mound when we come back. It's 5-2 Mammoths, but they're still threatening here in the top of the fifth inning with 2 outs and 2 men on base. Take a quick break. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Heldman's day officially done. He goes 2 innings, allows 2 hits, no earned runs as of yet. He's still responsible for the men on second and third base. No walks, 5 strikeouts. Really good outing for Heldman, but Chris Newell thinks that they got a good matchup here with the lefty coming up to the plate, the catcher Jake Barbie. Let's tell a little bit about the man on the mound, Mr. Toriano Fuscardo.
Well, he played professional ball a couple years ago, and that didn't go as planned, so he is in the USPBL now, and he's pitched 4 2/3 innings, giving up 4 hits, ERA just south of 2, so good start, and a whip that's just over 1, so pretty decent numbers in the early part of the season.
Off-speed pitch inside. Barbie holds off on it. Count 2-0 on the left-hander. 0 for 2 on the afternoon. A ground out to second, a fly out to center. But Toriano Fuscardo with the Allentown Railers of the Atlantic College Baseball League averaged a strikeout per inning. So definitely a strikeout pitcher. 2-0 pitch from Fuscardo. Fouled off by Barbie, out of play. Count 2-1.
Last appearance for Fuscardo was on May 23rd against the Unicorns, where he pitched 3 innings, no earned runs. So that's something to build off of from last time, giving up no runs. Hopefully he can continue that into this outing.
Tell you what, Heldman was doing a nice job out on the bump, and if you're the Beavers, you'd love to see Fuscardo get out of this jam to not allow Heldman to give up an earned run on the season. It was actually Heldman's birthday 2 days ago.
Happy birthday, Brian.
A little belated, but nice job from him so far tonight, or today, I should say. And can Fuscardo complete the process? A ground ball to the right side. It's going to get through. One run's going to come in to score with ease. Lawson rounding third, headed for home. Cut off by the first baseman, Helsel. And 2 runs come in to score. Those will both go to Heldman, the first 2 earned runs of the season. So Fuscardo cannot help out his partner as Barbie gets the 2 RBI base knock. Brings the lead to 5 as it's 7-2 Mammoths.
And that's unfortunate for really Heldman and Fuscardo. Heldman because those were his first earned runs of the season. And more importantly for Fuscardo because this is a big spot. Came off of a nice outing. And it's just giving up a big hit in a big spot where really since Mattern departed, we've seen a nice job from this Beavers bullpen.
Now David Kimbrough the second, taking a big swing at the first offer he sees out of the hand of Fuscardo. Hits it so hard he fouls it right off of himself.
Never a good feeling.
No, not ideal. Barbie over there on first base. No stolen bases to his credit so far this season. As Kimbrough fouls off a pitch into the protective netting over to our right of the broadcast booth. Count quickly 0-2 here now on Kimbrough. Soft ground ball hit to the left side. It'll be enough to get into foul territory. Nice stop from Rulis to try and at least make a play to retire Kimbrough, but we'll have to do the 0-2 all over again. Kimbrough 0-2 on the afternoon. Fly out to right and a strikeout to his credit.
Rich, it's May in Michigan, and you don't always see weather as nice as we've had it. So really fortunate for the league to get this big Memorial Day weekend and have such nice weather. It's been great to see.
Yeah, we really couldn't have asked for much more. It's been a lot of really good baseball. Saw the top 10 play last night. Hard ground ball hit back up the middle. Kimbrough protecting on an 0-2 count and back-to-back singles for the Mammoths. Keep their inning alive here in this top of the fifth. As we head back to the top of this Westside order, Fiesel 2 for 3 on the afternoon, 2 singles, 2 stolen bases, runs scored. But I was taking a look at our national pastime, something I want to start doing here during every broadcast on this date in baseball history. Back in 2009, just about 9 years ago, Red Sox starter Daisuke Matsuzaka and 2 relievers combined to throw 6 wild pitches, making it only the 5th time since the year 1900 that dubious feat had been accomplished. Daisuke tied an 80-year club franchise with 4 errant throws to catcher George Kataris, with reliever Manny DeClermont and Justin Masterson each uncorking 1. Just something you don't hear every day, especially at that level. Meanwhile, Fiesel hits a hard ground ball over to the hot corner where Thomas Rulis will literally run into the runner, Mr. Jake Barbie. But the Mammoths get 2 more in the top half of the 5th and take the 7-2 lead. Beavers in a world of hurt as they need at least 5 more in the next 3 at-bats if they want to do any damage here in game 1 of 2 of this day doubleheader. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the fifth we go. Westside Woolly Mammoths out in front of the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers by a score of 7-2. The starter for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, Travis McQueen, back out here for his fifth inning of work. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a game 1 of 2 of a doubleheader here on this Sunday matinee contest. So normally in a 9-inning professional baseball game, it takes a starter 5 innings to be in line for a victory, but with the game lasting only 7 innings, McQueen needs just 4 to be in line for the win, but he's back out here for the 5th inning of work.
And why not really push him as far as he can go on a doubleheader day where you don't want to waste arms in the bullpen. And McQueen's done a fairly good job with a few little mistakes that he's made, but for the most part, he's been in control, making the pitches he wants to make and hitting his spots.
Yeah, there is, in fact, an arm getting loose in that west side bullpen, as that's where that baseball was hit in the direction of. Jack Finnegan, number 15 out of Houston, Texas. He's got just 1 appearance from the bullpen under his belt. He went 2 innings back on May the 19th against the Unicorns. He allowed 2 earned runs on 4 hits in those 2 innings. So not the greatest of numbers for the man out in the bullpen that's getting loose. And meanwhile, Rob Baller looks at a called looks at a called ball, evens the count up at 2-2.
Going back to that last frame, Kimbrough got his first base knock in the USPBL, so congrats.
Very nice sign to see for Mr. David Kimbrough. Pollard, meanwhile, looking at a close 2-2 offer from McQueen that just misses outside. And you really wonder how long McQueen's going to continue on for. Already at 87 pitches, pitch 88, hit high, shallow. Should be an easy play for Drew Kitson, as we clearly know the things he's capable of out there in center field by now. A routine flyout retires Rob Poller for out number 1. That gives way to Jack Hranick, who is having a pretty good day so far. Single and a double to his credit. We'll see if he can knock out either a triple or a homer to get closer to a cycle.
Yeah, that's the one negative about being a 7-inning game today. You probably missed that extra at bat.
It's a very good point, Drew, is Hranick, the man out of Ortonville, Michigan, just about 40 minutes away from us here in Utica, stands in, fouls off the first offer he sees, but he has got a good eye up there at the plate today with the single and the double to his credit.
And Jack, pretty big guy, and not the biggest ballpark, so it's going to be tough for a triple. But the homer, however, I can see that happening.
So I talked a little bit about baseball history in the last half inning. I was checking on a little bit more of some stuff that were pretty cool little things. You remember how bad the Tigers were back in the year 2004, right? A little bit.
03 was their worst year, I believe.
Yeah, 119 losses that year. 2004 wasn't much better, but as
it took a couple years to
JJ the Diamond Dog, the field general, chases after that foul ball, gets a big round of applause from the fans. I'll tell you what, JJ, definitely the fan favorite here at the ballpark. But
he continues to impress me.
Yeah, he's getting the hang of fetching bats and balls and what have you. But Hranick down to the count 1-2 after that foul ball. Looks at a breaking ball that misses the zone. But back to this story about the Tigers back in 2004 at Kauffman Stadium where the Royals play. The Tigers actually tied a club record with a certain amount of hits. Give me your guess, Drew. What's your best guess for a club record for the Tigers all time in hits in a game?
All right, well, Tigers have been around since 1901.
As this ball in the infield, ranged down by the third baseman, David Kimbrough. All 4 infielders were kind of just standing around. It was on the right side of the field of play, but Kimbrough, with the speed, ends up making the call and comes up with the baseball. An unconventional out right there for the Mammoths, but he does retire him. But back to this conversation here.
Back to my answer. So I'm just going to go through this. Been around since 1901. Have some very good ball clubs, a lot of good hitters. I'm going to go somewhere in the 20s. I'm going to say 22 hits.
Short by 5. Tigers collected 27 hits back on this date in history in 2004. Carlos Pena, 6 for 6 that day. Tigers won that one 17-7 against the Royals. It's the first time that Detroit had banged out that many hits in a game, and that was actually the last time that they did that, 1928 against the Yankees at Navin Field. But as I say that, Mr. Mercado is retired via the pop-out for the third and final out. We're through 5 here at the ballpark. Mammoths out in front by 5 as we head to the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Drew Kell here with you. The man of the hour from last night, Mr. Drew Kitson, standing in. And if you missed out, we're going to run that play for you one more time. That SportsCenter top 10 play, Kitson robbing the home run from Spencer Ibarra of the Utica Unicorns. Here's that audio once again from last night. It was quite the scene.
Mason with that high leg kick, and Ibarra hits a high fly ball out there to center field. Drew Kitson at the track, at the wall, and he makes the catch.
He did.
Are you kidding me? What a way to start this ball game. Drew Kitson ranged that ball down perfectly, jumps up and robs Spencer Ibarra of a home run.
Oh my goodness, that's the first time I have seen this in person. Drew Kitson just put himself on SportsCenter. Rich, we say that every game, but tonight I actually believe it.
So that was just arguably one of the greatest moments that I've ever been a part of in my short couple-year broadcasting stint professionally. And you know what? Drew Kitson, all the power to him. You know, he made the play. It was the beginning of the game. Really started off yesterday on a fun note, and we weren't sure exactly if SportsCenter was going to give credit, but, you know, it was given where it was due. Drew Kitson earning every bit of what he accomplished last night and putting the USPBL even more on the map at a national stage. Just really great stuff from the man out of Missouri.
It's awesome to see. The play was awesome itself, but the exposure to the league, that's what it's all about. Getting people from all around the country, all around the world, really, seeing that play. And I'm not saying people around the world are coming to the ballpark, but it's just good to have that exposure.
The recognition for
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So Kitson down in the count against Toriano Fuscardo, who's out there in his second inning of relief. He came in for Brian Heldman with 2 outs in the 5th inning previously. Gave up the single that drove in 2 from Barbie and then a single to Kimbrough. And then Fiesel was retired on the fielder's choice when Barbie was taken out at third unassisted by Rulis. Kitson, meanwhile, calling time as it's his box up there, as he wasn't comfortable with where he was at mentally. Fuscardo, meanwhile, trying to keep his rhythm going out there on the bump. Lefty-righty matchup. Breaking ball, swung on, hit hard by Kitson, just a little too early as it rolls down into that left field corner.
Yeah, Fuscardo got lucky with that one. That one really hung over the heart of the plate, and there was definitely a very good pitch to hit. So Fuscardo is fortunate that one didn't end up in the left field corner for a double.
2-2 pitch almost gets a piece of Kitson. That one very inside. So a ball got away from Fuscardo there. But fortunately for the Beavers, he's got at least one more to work with. Base is empty here. 7-2 your ball game. Westside Woolly Mammoths taking charge with 3 runs in the first, 2 more in the third, 2 more in the fifth. Beavers got 2 runs on a 2-run shot from Rob Pauler in the home half of the third, but it's really all that they've done so far here this afternoon. Kitson taking one off of the front foot there. Saw Kimbrough foul one off of himself in his last at-bat. So a couple of Westside Woolly Mammoths getting a piece of themselves on some of these hard cuts we're seeing.
In Kitson's case, we saw that ball roll all the way out to Skylar Mercado at the shortstop position. So you know he got a pretty good chunk of himself there. That I know we talked about that never feeling good, but when you get it all the way out, as it looks like a ground ball to shortstop, that's how you know it's pretty painful, and he's still limping a little bit. But it looks like he'll be okay.
Yeah, just a little extra second given here to Kitson. Mammoths with a commanding lead, 7-2 here in this first of 2 games. Mentioned this is game 1 of 2 on this Sunday doubleheader between the Beavers and Mammoths. And Kitson on the fastball inside will have to head back to the dugout. He strikes out for the 3rd time here today. So Kitson not having as good of a day as he did last night. But he did double and come in to score back in the first inning. Also had that RBI, but since then, 3 straight strikeouts. 1 via the swing and miss, and then the last 2 via the look. And there is a man getting loose out in that Westside bullpen, just in case the day might be done for the starter, Travis McQueen. It is Jack Finnegan still getting loose out there. So you wonder if McQueen will get another inning or if he'll give way to Finnegan. Only time will tell. As Fuscardo dealing now with Brandon Cuddy. That fastball misses the zone by a mile. Count 1-0 here on the left-hander out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. 0 for 3 on the afternoon. 0 for 2 on the afternoon. He's struck out twice and then reached on a base on balls.
The Beavers defense shading Cuddy, the second baseman, closer to first base than we've been accustomed to seeing today. Maybe that's just because of the left-handed batter. And he's playing a little deeper than usual. Once again, a couple steps into the grass. So we're starting to see shifts that we didn't see in the early part of the season. First couple of weeks now, we're slowly getting to the place where we can see enough statistics where there's shifts starting to occur.
Yeah, teams starting to get more familiar with each other as the days pass. And they will be seeing plenty of each other as this season, of course, 75 regular season games, playoffs as well, and each 4 of these teams playing about the exact same number of games. And Cuddy on the 2-2 pitch, it's a hard ground ball over to that first base side where Helsel makes the play unassisted.
I believe we were talking about Skylar Mercado a couple innings ago, making a play where he could have created the bounce for himself and charged the ball. Similar situation there, although Helsel got away with it there. He was able to get the glove in a position to make the play, although that was a pretty difficult bounce.
So now Tyler Pagano, the man who had a 2-run homer back in the 3rd inning, stands in. Really good day thus far. home run, single, 2 RBIs, runs scored, 2 of them actually. Pagano having the best day at the plate out of anybody here this afternoon. Did pop out to first base in his last appearance, but those 2 hits, big part of the reason why the Mammoths are out in front by 5 runs here today.
Yeah, he's been seeing the ball very well. And just like a couple of these hitters on the Mammoths, timing is the key.
Yeah, he was 1 for 3 last night with a single, but did strike out twice. Had a run scored last night in the 4-2 victory, so Pagano providing when he has to. It was a much closer game last night with the Unicorns, so every run counted there, but today he's brought in 3 of his own, scored 2. He's trying to continue his hot little streak he's got going on. Bases are empty. Toriano Fuscardo trying to get the Beavers out of this top of the 6th inning, as they only got 2 more at-bats left in this 7-inning affair in this first game of 2. The kick, the push, backdoor slider gets Pagano on the freeze frame. The 3rd out of the inning via the backwards K. That's how Toriano struck out 2 of the 3 outs here in this top of the 6th inning. Beavers coming up to the plate in the home half. They need at least 5 in these next 2 frames. They want to keep this one going. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the home half of the 6th we go. Mammoths out in front 7-2. And a big reason because of that, the starter Travis McQueen for the Mammoths goes 5 innings strong. Does allow 7 hits, but they weren't timely ones. Just the 2 earned runs on that 2-run homer from Rob Pollard back in the 3rd inning was basically all the damage that was hit against McQueen. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and he now gives way to Jack Finnegan.
Well, Jack Finnegan has had 1 appearance in the early going this season, and he hasn't really gotten enough innings to find his stride. He's pitched 2 innings, allowing 2 runs, so that ERA in the limited action he's had is at 9. But he has good stuff. He has a pretty lively fastball, so I think those numbers will come down. He's only had 2 innings, so that's really not even fair to him to mention those stats, but they will go down.
Yeah, first opportunity for Mr. Finnegan against these Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers in this 2018 season. You mentioned how he did give up those 2 earned runs in that outing against the Unicorns on the 19th, but he did have 3 strikeouts in those 2 innings. So,
and there's the stuff I was talking about. he really
It's a mixed balance as this hard ground ball hit over to the right side. Easy routine play there for Jalen Lawson. Retires Hunter Wood for out number one. 1 up, 1 down for the Beavers. They only have 5 remaining outs to go as they need 5 runs. So battle of the wits here. Can you get 5 runs before you get 5 outs? As they got 7, 8 hitters due up here in the rest of this 6th inning.
And I think Shane McCaddy has done a very fine job of really managing this game. And it's a short game, which makes it a little easier. But he's done a nice job with having McQueen go about as far as he could go. His stuff wasn't great, as he mentioned in that interview, as Oliveri grounds one to third base.
Yeah, that was a really hard hit ground ball. It was going to be a tough play no matter what for David Kimbrough the second. They do, in fact, mark it down as a base knock in the book. So an infield single for Oliveri. Have the Beavers with something working here in this home half of the 6th. But back to Shane McCaddy and these Westside Woolly Mammoths. They had lost their first 2 games of the season, both to this Birmingham Bloomfield team. The combined score of 9-5 in those 2 games. One of them 4-2, one of them 5-3. So both close games, but ever since then, McCaddy and the Mammoths really haven't looked back. They've won their last 2, in line to get the victory here in game 1 of 2 against the defending champion Beavers. Beavers, they lose this. Excuse me, if they lose this one, they'll go down in the books as 3-4 in the records. As Oliveri on that loose ball in the dirt takes second. Throw was made though by Jake Barbie, and it was closer than we thought it would have been. So it'll in fact go down in the books as a stolen base since the throw was made almost in time there. Nice job by Jake Barbie to react and almost make a play, turning something out of nothing.
Yeah, you were talking about the records for these respective ball clubs, and I think it's important to mention how long of a season it is and how it's very easy to get too high and too low when you've won a couple games in a row or when you've dropped a few tough ones in a row. Like we saw the Diamond Hoppers, for instance. They came out of the gates struggling, but they've since found a rhythm, and I think all of these teams they're going to go through the peaks and valleys that any long baseball season has. Because it's not football where there's like 12, 16 games, depending on the level, where every game is huge. Here it's kind of, there's going to be natural peaks and valleys throughout the course of a long season.
3-1 breaking ball finds the zone, brings the count full here with 1 out. Oliveri standing out there in scoring position after the single and stolen base. He's trying to come in to score just the 1 out here. Big spot for Jack Finnegan and the Mammoths. Slider misses away, so Helsel works the full count base on balls. The base was open, so not the worst scenario for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, but they'll definitely need to turn a double play here. It won't be easy with Batley in the batter's box.
Yeah, Batley with that speed. But going to Finnegan, I don't know if he really trusts his fastball right now. 3-1, he dropped the curveball, and 3-2 with a slider. So those are both pretty normally fastball counts, and he elected to go with breaking balls on both of those. So that's something to look for if he's lost confidence in that pitch, or if he's not feeling it today, or maybe he's feeling great with his breaking balls.
Oliveri on second, Helsel at first, Batley in the batter's box. That's the 3rd foul ball we've seen ricochet off of the batter that has swung it. Batley looks to be perfectly fine, no damage done internally there, so count even at 1-1, but tell you what, Batley could change this game in the matter of one swing of the bat. Lead for the Mammoths is 5, but could change in a whole different direction if Batley can get an extra base hit here, but the 1-1 pitch fouled off.
That last pitch that Batley saw, he was choking up probably 2 inches. He's doing it again right now. You don't really see that a lot, and clearly he wants to focus on bat control in a short swing, but he's really choking up on that bat more than we usually see.
Swing and a miss. Was it held on by Barbie? In fact, it was. So for the second time here this afternoon, Batley chases after a pitch for the third strike. Back to the top of the order we go. Ryan Smith looking for his second hit of the afternoon. 1 for 3 with a single, fly out, and a line out.
Rich, how are you feeling about the NBA playoffs, the conference finals winding down? How are you feeling about that? Because I think it's great basketball right now.
Yeah, it's been entertaining. I mean, throughout the entire off season, after the Cleveland Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors back in the NBA Finals, we were expecting nothing different this year, but sort of a turn of events. Got Golden State and Houston in Game 7 tomorrow night. Got the Cavs and Celtics in Game 7 action later on tonight. But Drew Kitson comes underneath the fly ball to retire Ryan Smith for the third and final out. Call a single, a walk, but no runs scored for the Beavers in the home half of the sixth. Take us to the seventh, last inning of play here in this first game of 2. Mammoths out in front 7-2 over the Beavers. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Seventh inning out of 14 in today's doubleheader. Ethan Whisker stands in for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Rich Borland alongside Drew Kell on your broadcast for today's festivities. Luke Hammond up here in the booth with us, working stats and scoreboard. Appreciate the help, as always, from our broadcasting interns here at Jimmy John's Field. We got Whisker, Lawson, Thomas due up for the Mammoths in what we all assume their last at-bats of this first game. Whisker looks at 2 straight pitches, neither of them for strikes. Toriano Fuscardo back out there for the second time. Came in to relieve Brian Heldman in the 5th inning, allowed a couple of singles in that 5th, and then had 2 strikeouts and a ground out in the 6th inning. Came out of that unscathed. And then on that 2-0 pitch to Whisker, he swings far too early on it, hits it down the left field line foul. Whisker on the afternoon, double, hit by pitch, reached on an error. Does have an RBI on that double that drove in Tyler Pagano. A line shot out to left field. Can a play be made? It can! Sliding in, sort of that Maglio Ordonez fashion, was Daniel Oliveri. Whisker, outfielder for the Mammoths, hits it right to Oliveri. That was, in fact, your 1-800 Hanson's get it done play of the game.
Yeah, Maglio did it from right field, but that's pretty much the first thing I noticed when I saw it too. It looked like some classic '06 Maglio Ordonez, and that just brought back some childhood memories right there.
Just that slide in, keep the 1 foot back, textbook stuff right there from Daniel Oliveri. Nobody happier than Toriano Fuscardo. Last thing you'd want to see there after having a 1-2-3 inning in the 6th is to allow the Mammoths to get back on the track that they've been on ever since the beginning of last night's game. Lawson down in the count 0-1. Fuscardo tosses one over the heart of the plate. James Batley out there in center field ranges down that fly ball with ease. 2 up and 2 down. Whisker, Lawson are retired. That now gives way to Jordan Thomas, who we were wondering if he was going to be able to stay in this ball game after colliding with Thomas Fiesel out there in the left field back in the 5th inning.
Yeah, fortunate that there were no serious injuries on that play. It's always something scary. I think we were just talking about Maglio Ordonez, another Maglio Ordonez moment. I believe it was with the White Sox. He had a pretty serious injury, and that it's a pretty frequent play in baseball where someone ends up pretty seriously injured.
Oh, 1 pitch to Thomas. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Thomas, last night in the game against the Unicorns, 1 for 3. Or excuse me, 0 for 4, my apologies, with 3 strikeouts. And now here today, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, on the verge of striking out for the 3rd time in back-to-back games. Would be a tough little stride here for the man out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Definitely got some Louisiana weather here in Michigan today as we're in the 90s. That ball in the dirt looked as if it got a piece of Ron Norquist behind home plate. It got away from the catcher, Hunter Wood. It was a tough spot. And as we get a little break in the action, just got notified, Detroit Tigers ending up victorious. Shane Green out there getting the save in a tough spot. Base runners on, 1-run victory. Tigers defeat the White Sox.
And they've been playing hard all year. Maybe not the most talented group, but they compete. And Ron Gardenhire has them playing hard. They're a fun ball club to watch.
Yeah, it was really fortunate last weekend to meet Matt Boyd.
Really good guy.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun day here at the ballpark. And as we say that, Jordan Thomas swings and misses for the 3rd time here today. Mammoths go down in order in the top of the 7th. See if the Beavers can take any momentum into the home half, as they'll need 5 here in game 1 of 2. It's time to sing some Sweet Caroline as we are here at the ballpark. So tune in and get ready here for this final frame of game 1 of 2. You're listening and watching to the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland alongside Drew Kell here in game 1 of 2 here on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon baseball doubleheader contest. Thomas Rulis, the leadoff batter for the Beavers here in this home half of the 7th. They need 5 runs, but their best hitter, Mr. Rulis, is retired for out number 1, taking any win that might have been in the sails of this Beaver team here momentum-wise going into this home half of the 7th. You got Mr. Jack Finnegan out there for his second inning of work. He had retired 3 batters in that 6th frame. He allowed a walk and a single, a stolen base, but no runs in that last frame. So Shane McCaddy and the Westside Woolly Mammoths playing smart here to use least amount of arms as possible. Finnegan in that opportunity to get 2 innings under his belt. Not a save situation, of course, as the Mammoths are up by 5 here in this one.
I believe, actually, I know it's obviously usually 3 runs, but if the guy goes multiple innings to end the game, I believe that actually would be considered a save if he goes multiple innings.
Yeah, and it's a tough scenario since we're only playing 7 here today.
It's all a gray area.
It
right
is
now.
a little bit of a gray area. I believe he would normally need 3. In a 9-inning game, you would need 3 innings of relief to get a save, but with 2 innings of work under your belt in a 7-inning affair, you wonder if that would be a save situation. But we'll find out as we move along here. We'll find out as things go on here. Meanwhile, Jack Hranick standing in. Pauler over there now on first base with that base knock over to the right side of the field of play. So he's on first base. Beavers not done just yet. Hranick shows bunt, pulls back, and that ball gets away from the catcher, Jake Barbie. It actually looked like it might have made contact with something up here in the netting. Gary Wagenschutz says that he will automatically get second base, but he was in there either way, was Pauler. So
Yep, he could have walked down second base if he so chose.
Hranick ahead in the count, 2-0 here. Base is open over there at first now. Backdoor breaking ball, called strike on the 2-0. So you don't see that too often, but when pitchers are struggling with command of the fastball, a 2-0 count could bring in that breaking ball option with your count down here, as it was 2-0. Now back-to-back breaking balls to Hranick have him even in the count here with 2 swings and misses.
Yeah, he was definitely fooled with that one. Timing was off. The swing didn't look comfortable. So really nice pitch by Finnegan in a good location, the bottom part of the zone.
Ground ball hit hard into foul territory right near that first base dugout where the Mammoths remain. They will be there for the rest of today's festivities. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the bottom of the 7th inning here of this one, but this will be the final frame unless the Beavers can miraculously put up 5 runs here in this home half of the 7th. And then we'll have a half-an-hour break, and then we'll have 7 more for you between the Mammoths and the Beavers as part of this Sunday matinee doubleheader, making up for the rainout that was caused back on our official opening day back on May 11th.
And that's a distant memory now, looking at this scene compared to the scene we saw in early May. This is a world different.
Swinging and missing on the 2-2 pitch was Hranick, and there's going to be trouble still for Barbie. He ends up trying to get the runner at first base, but just not enough in time. That ball thrown sort of in the dirt, but either way, got to be able to try and get that stop. The ball at least kept in front of you if you're Barbie. You got a slow runner at the plate. Just got to do everything in your power to try and keep the ball in your range of getting it before he gets to first base, but instead, Beavers stay alive for at least another couple of batters here.
Miscues are a big reason for late rallies. Usually it takes good hitting and it takes a bit of luck, and we saw that a little bit of luck. So a few more base knocks. You never know. You really don't. We've seen teams really come at you quick with runs out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's the greatest part about this game. No clock out there on the scoreboard. As this ball's hit, could be 2. Instead, David Kimbrough the second with that 5-run lead, probably playing smart, ends up retiring Mercado for out number 2, but Pollard does come in to score. Hranick does go over to second. It's an RBI ground out for Mercado. 5-3 put out goes down in the books for out number 2, and just like that, Westside Woolly Mammoths need one more out. Beavers down to their final one.
Yeah, Kimbrough making the smart play, conceding the run, but getting the sure out, because if he wanted to be the hero and try to turn 2, that could have really turned into an ugly play.
Now Hunter Wood stands in. Tough day at the plate so far for Wood. Had bases loaded back in the first inning. Struck out looking and then grounded out into a 6-4-3 double play in the third, and then led off the 6th inning with a ground out as well. Tough day there for the man out of Western Kentucky University. Breaking ball on the 1-1 pitch. Wood chasing after it. Count now 1-2, and all of a sudden, Beavers are down to their final strike.
Yeah, Hunter Wood has come up short in a few big spots in this game. We'll see if he can put the bat in the ball at least and give his team a chance.
Ball in the dirt, misses the zone, and Wood holds off on it, evens the count up at 2-2.
Notice Jalen Lawson, once again, probably 4 feet into the outfield.
Ground ball hit to the right side. It's going to be enough to get past the ranging second baseman, Jalen Lawson. And coming in to score is Jack Hranick for the second run of the inning. It's 7-4. And Hunter Wood with his first base knock of the day, an RBI single. Keep the Beavers alive, at least for now.
Had Jalen been in his usual spot, that would have been a 4-3 putout to end the game. However, with Wood at the plate, they have him in a different spot than usual, because if you see where he's standing right now, that would have been right to Jalen.
So now Daniel Oliveri stands in, looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. Oliveri singled in his last appearance, stole a bag as well. 1 for 3 on the afternoon, a strikeout and a ground out to his credit. Chases after the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball that slides in there out of the hand of Jack Finnegan, who's trying to keep this one in motion.
And it doesn't get interesting until Oliveri reaches. When that tying run is at the plate, that's when, as a defense and a pitcher, that's when you start to not panic, but that's when you start to realize that, hey, they could actually complete this comeback.
Yeah, if Oliveri can get on, the hairs on the back of every Westside Woolly Mammoth's neck will be standing up. And on the 1-2 offer, breaking ball in the dirt, another good eye there from Oliveri to keep this one going. Ball in the dirt, check swing on Oliveri, holds off. Does not go around. Helsel looming on deck with 2 walks and a double. So if you're the Westside Woolly Mammoths, you really want to try and retire Oliveri here. Ball in the dirt, runner in motion. Wood gets into second, and Oliveri reaches with the base on balls, and just like that, tying run comes up to the plate in Christian Helsel.
Helsel already an extra base hit in this contest. He does have some pop from the right side, and with the tying run at the plate, this is what you ask for. If you're a hitter, you want the opportunity to tie the ball game up, and maybe not even tie the game up, but keep the train rolling and keep it going, really.
Yeah, now Shane McCaddy coming out to pitcher's mound to have a conference. Not only is he trying to calm his pitcher down, not only is he talking strategy with his infielders, but mainly allowing his pitcher in the bullpen to get loose. We got broadcasting intern Luke Hammett trying to tell me who it is, and before I even look, I'm going to guess, is it number 17, Gavin Collins? It is. So Gavin Collins getting loose out in the bullpen. He came in his last appearance last night with a save.
And I'd imagine if Finnegan is unable to get this final out on this batter, that'll be the end of his night, or afternoon, I should say.
Yeah, Christian Helsel on the afternoon mentioned has the 2 walks and the double to his credit. He was thrown out at the plate after he walked in that second inning. A nice pitch there from Finnegan to get Helsel to chase after that breaking ball to begin this at-bat. Wood at second, Oliveri at first. Helsel at the plate looks at a fastball that just misses the zone outside. Count even at 1-1. Got Cameron McKenzie on the bump in game number 2 for the Beavers as Helsel looks at a breaking ball that misses the zone. Count goes to 2-1. And then on the other end for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, it'll be number 9, Joseph Mack out of Houston, Texas. Helsel, meanwhile, on the 2-1 pitch. Not sure exactly what was called there. Wasn't anything definitive, but on the scoreboard goes down as a ball. So just like that, Mr. Finnegan, if he throws another ball here, he'll walk the bases loaded. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Tying run at first base, winning run at the plate, and nobody who needs a hit more on this Birmingham Bloomfield team than Mr. James Batley. Hunter Wood had been having a tough day at the plate, and he gets the RBI single here in the 7th, and now Batley with an opportunity to turn his day around and possibly give the Beavers a tie, a chase, or even the victory.
Yeah, if I'm Shane McCaddy, I would really reconsider having Finnegan in the game with control issues. But, hey, I'm not the professional, but that's just I've noticed some control issues that have really cropped up in these last 2 or 3 batters.
Collins still getting loose out in that bullpen. Finnegan trying to end the day on a high note. Batley swings and misses at the first offer and then looks at a breaking ball for strike number 2. Beavers down to their final strike. Finnegan on the bump, the 0-2. Did he go around? First base umpire Gary Wagenschutz says he did not, so the Beavers stay alive for at least one more pitch.
And that was very close. Looked like Batley had gone. But, hey, the Beavers will certainly take it.
Count 1-2 on the man out of Zion, Illinois. The swing and the miss. Jack Finnegan records the save, and the Westside Woolly Mammoths with back-to-back victories here from last night and into today. They win this one by a final of 7-4 over the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. The starter, Travis McQueen, goes 5 innings, allows 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, but gets the victory as he now moves to 1-1 on the season. Brandon Mattern, of course, will get the loss in his efforts. And we're not done here on today's festivities. This is just game 1 of 2. We will have your second ball game in just about a half an hour from now. Once again, Drew Kell, Rich Borland on the call here with you. We'll switch the roles for game number 2. Drew Kell will be on the play-by-play duties, and I will be on color. But we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with our little second intro for our doubleheader festivities. But once again, we'll take the break here and be back with you for game number 2 of this Sunday doubleheader. Mammoths victorious after the first one. Final score, once again, 7-4. And we'll be right back in just about 20 minutes here, ready for game 2 between the Mammoths and the Beavers. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland here with you. We're actually going to stop this stream and create a new one. So if you are still with us, we will stop this one and then create a new one just in about 20 to 25 minutes here before we get our second part of this doubleheader underway. Once again, first pitch will be coming about 30 minutes from now here at Jimmy John's Field. So once again, Rich Borland and Drew Kell will be with you here on the broadcast, and we'll be back in about 20 to 25 minutes. Thank you for listening, and start the new stream in about 15, 20 minutes from now.